This week at Bungie, we're commemorating some of the more eventful times within the Crucible, and we're preparing for the release of Destiny 2 Update 2.5.2, scheduled for release when Solstice of Heroes goes live next week on July 30th. What's going on, Guardians? My name is The Black Link, and we're going to be covering all of that and more in this video. Now, first things first, if you haven't heard about the Solstice of Heroes, of course it's going live next Tuesday. We had a video covering a lot of the stuff we've learned about it. The event itself is going to be very similar to what we had last year, where you're going to be getting an armor set and then completing challenges within the game to level that armor set up. But in the previous days, we've learned way more about the event as well. We're getting a brand new 3-player matchmade activity titled the European Aerial Zone. The Solstice armor itself is going to be the first bit of Armor 2.0 compatible gear. You're going to be able to swap that out with a gunsmith once September and Shadowkeep roll around. And we're even getting a new elemental buff system that's going to be somewhat reminiscent of the Revelry buffs we had back during the spring event. If you want to learn about all of that kind of stuff, like I said, we have a video covering all of that. I'll leave a link to it down in the description box below. But as for this week's TWAB, things are starting out with a bit of a reward for those of you Guardians who suffered through, like I said before, some of those crazier events within the Crucible. A few weeks ago, when we first learned about the Lord of Wolves changes that are going to be coming in Destiny Update 2.5.2, we learned that players who played through PvP activities like Iron Banner during this current realm of Lord of Wolves supremacy are going to be receiving a very special commemorative reward in the form of a brand new emblem. And indeed, we get to learn more about that in this week's TWAB. Here's what they had to say. Sometimes there are weapons that bring a bit of chaos to the meta. The Weekend of Prometheus Lens, otherwise known as Laser Tag Weekend, is a great example. Lord of Wolves also falls into this category. Next week, Destiny 2 Update 2.5.2 will rein in the wolves a bit by reducing the amount of ammo Guardians pick up and toning down the effective range of the weapon. As promised last month, we've created an emblem and triumph for those who brave the wolves during the Season of Opulence. Next week, qualifying players will receive a Lost History package at the Postmaster, which will unlock a unique triumph. Once the triumph is claimed, the emblem will be granted. And then we get to see exactly what that emblem's going to look like. Its official title is Wolves Unleashed, and will serve as your reward for suffering through this shotgun meta. They go on to state that to qualify for the Wolves Unleashed emblem, players must have finished an Iron Banner match between 10 a.m. Pacific on June 18th and 10 a.m. Pacific on June 25th, or between 10 a.m. Pacific time on July 23rd and 10 a.m. Pacific time on July 30th. Basically, this current ongoing Iron Banner or the previous Iron Banner, you need to have played at least one game of that mode in order to qualify for this brand new awesome looking emblem. But that's not the only reward that players who've been playing in the crazier times of the Crucible will be receiving. Because as they go on to state, additionally, we've created an emblem for those who embraced the madness way back in 2017 when skulls were melted during the reign of Prometheus Lens. That's right, if you played back then, you're also getting access to a new emblem titled Prismatic Inferno. In order to qualify for that one, players must have finished a Crucible match between 10 a.m. Pacific on December 8th and 10 a.m. Pacific on December 12th of 2017. Which, while definitely unexpected, is both hilarious and kind of awesome. If you were around back during that time, you'll know that the Prometheus Lens, when it initially released right after Curse of Osiris went live, there was something a little bit off with its damage numbers, and it was killing people in like 0.3 seconds. So Bungie did the crazy thing and had Xur sell it that Friday. Everybody bought it, and then that weekend, Crucible was laser tag. Everybody was just using Prometheus Lens and vaping away. Or veeping, or whatever sound effects you want to apply to that. It was a pretty crazy time, and it's neat to see that Bungie's kind of embraced the meme there, and is granting players who played during PvP in that very short period of time before it got patched with a new exclusive emblem. Definitely something I'm excited about. If you don't know whether or not you played during the laser tag weekend, you can actually head over to Bungie's official website, sign in on whatever account you play on, whether it's PlayStation Network, Xbox Live, or a Battle.net account. Then, you can go to your account page, bring up game history, and search and see if you played a match during the period when Laser Tag Weekend was going on. And of course, the period of time you're looking for is between December 8th and December 12th of 2017. Now, if you're like me and you've played quite a bit of Crucible since 2017, you can kind of narrow the search down by changing the parameter from Crucible over to Supremacy. That game mode doesn't come up too often. By doing that, I was able to scroll pretty quickly through. That was the weekly playlist game mode during Laser Tag weekend, so it narrows it down a little bit. You can check and see if your account played a Crucible match during that period, and if it has, congratulations, you've earned this brand new emblem. Hopefully that helps some of you Guardians figure it out. Of course, you can do the same thing on third-party websites like Destiny Tracker and stuff like that. But anyways, that's how you can get your hands on these new commemorative exclusive emblems in-game. But alright, now that all that's said and done, we've got some pretty big changes that are set to drop alongside Destiny 2 Update 2.5.2. And we're going to go through them really quickly right here. First things first, of course, Lord of Wolves is the name of the game. That's been running rampant in PvP right now, and it's seeing some pretty heavy changes once next week's update goes live. First up, they're reducing the amount of ammo shotgun scavenger perks can give to Lord of Wolves when in the Release the Wolves state. They're also decreasing the effective range on Lord of Wolves. And they state that this decrease is more aggressive when in the Release the Wolves state. These are pretty big changes. The change to the shotgun scavenger perk is probably going to be one of the biggest things here. Yeah, Lord of Wolves' range is ridiculous, but being able to get so much ammo back while stacking shotgun scavenger perks was a major problem with the gun right now. But with all those changes mixed up, I'm sure it's going to be brought in line pretty well once Tuesday rolls around. Guess we'll have to see. Next up, changes for the Tribute Hall. Tribute Hall triumphs for the Emperor's Gladiator and Scoundrel in uniform will no longer require a full set of Leviathan gear equipped to progress. Players will earn more points based on the number of gear pieces worn, similar to other triumphs. Right now it seems the only way to actually get points on either of those triumphs is to wear a full set of gear. So what they're doing is they're changing it so that wearing any amount of gear is going to get you progress, but wearing more is going to get you more progress. Makes sense to me. Next, we've got some changes coming to the Iron Banner. Or more specifically, the quests tied to the Iron Banner. The Iron Banner quest objective values have been adjusted for future events. First, they're reducing grenade kills required by 50%, and allied grenade kills will be worth as much as your own. Very major change. That's one of the steps that most people got stuck on. After that, they're reducing sword kills required by 25%, and ally sword kills will be worth as much as your own. Again, cutting down on some of the harder to complete steps with that quest. Next up, we've got some changes coming to Menagerie. Heroic Menagerie will now drop a sword for first-time completions. They're bumping that drop rate up to 100%. So once this update goes live, on your first Heroic Menagerie completion, you are guaranteed to get a sword. If you've already run Heroic Menagerie, you're not going to be getting a sword as like kind of a retroactive pay. The first time you complete Heroic after this update goes live, you will receive a sword guaranteed. And of course, subsequent completions will have a moderate chance to drop a sword of 25%. Not bad. Then finally, we've got some general changes. They fixed an issue where completion notifications did not appear after completing bounties, and they've also fixed an issue where players would sometimes not spawn during a Crucible match. If this has happened to you, you know it basically pops you in like you're spectating. And there was a general way to fix that. I do believe we talked about it on the podcast. You basically go over and like complete a bounty. You'll have a completed bounty in your inventory in your pursuits tab. You complete it and then it should log you in. But thankfully, all of that's being fixed in next week's update. But alright, Guardians, there we go. That is pretty much it for the Bungie blog for the week of July 25th, 2019. We've got a big patch coming out next week, and I'm sure we're going to have plenty of patch notes to go through, so make sure you're staying tuned there. But that's the news. Those are my thoughts. I'm loving the way those emblems look, and I'm super happy that they decided to remember and commemorate Laser Tag Weekend. That's been a fun story to tell new Guardians, and now we'll have something to show off for it. But anyways, those are my thoughts. Be sure to leave me yours down in the comment section below. If you enjoyed the video, feel free to drop a like, make sure you subscribe, and hit that notification bell to stay up to date with all the latest stuff we're putting out. Next week's going to be a big one, so definitely make sure you're staying tuned. But alright, I'm out for now. As always, I am the Black Link. You Guardians, stay frosty.